But very interesting findings of this Swiss military think tank report. We knew it, we said it. Pakistan, of course, kept lying through its teeth, and that Pakistani propaganda network, the Chinese and other arms lobbies that peddled Pakistan's lies. But now, independent analysts studying Operation Sindoor are coming up with very clear conclusions. Joining me with the latest on India First is Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon, former Kashmir Corps Commander, former Director General of India's Defence Intelligence Agency, and Air Marshal M. Matheswaran, former Deputy Chief of the Integrated Defence Staff. Gentlemen, welcome. Happy Republic Day. Air Marshal Matheswaran, the report concludes India hit Bahawalpur and Muridke, which it believes is a qualitative leap from past responses to Pakistan's state terror in terms of depth and coordination. The report concludes this clearly was crossing all Pakistan's red lines. And my question to you is, has India displayed the ability, and the world is now realizing it, we can repeatedly cross Pakistan's red lines, hit Pakistan in its Punjab province, the truth that the world now realizes, sir?
Absolutely. I read the report a couple of days back. I saw that and it became available through the LinkedIn. It's a very nicely, researched and balanced report. And much of what he's put out there is what we had all along been analyzing and talking over the ever since May. And that's exactly what has happened. So the first day's attack demolished the terrorist targets without any ambiguity. And what is most significant, which the report now acknowledges, is that over the next 3 days, the Indian military and the Air Force in particular exhibited tremendous control over escalation and responded, controlling the narrative, controlling the conduct of the war. And the attacks on 9th and 10th, he highlights quite strongly, is what finally brought the Pakistanis down to their knees.
Pakistan was down on its knees. General Dhillon, if I may, and you and I have discussed this on Chakravyuh, the podcast. General Dhillon, India repeatedly hit terror bases in Pakistan's Punjab province, then Pakistan's radars in Punjab province, and of course in other provinces. But I want to focus on Pakistan's Punjab province for a moment, and then Pakistani air defenses, Pakistani air bases. Why am I focusing on Pakistan's Punjab province? Because this, we were told all along, and General, you would have known this as a youngster growing up in the army, that you can hit Pakistan anywhere, but not in Punjab province. That's a red line. India repeatedly breached that red line of Pakistan decisively. Does this not prove how hollow Pakistan's armed forces are? Your take on this Swiss military think tank report, sir?
Good evening, Gaurav, and good evening to the fellow panelists and all our viewers, and wishing you all a very happy Republic Day, 77th Republic Day. Now coming down to the question which you asked. Yes, after 1971, it was for the first time that any Indian defense hardware hit Pakistan's Punjab province. You know, it's only a geographical area which is called Punjab, Pakistani Punjab, but more than that, since Pakistani Punjabi Musliman dominates the Pakistani military and Pakistan's diplomacy and Pakistan's politics and everything which Pakistan has, hitting inside Pakistani Punjab was not only a show of strength, it was a show of determination that we will hit you where it hurts the most. And we will hit you again. We hit repeatedly from 7th May till 10th of May, till, as the Air Marshal was saying, that when it brought Pakistan to its knees. But more importantly, what this report says is what we have been saying all along. We have not been involving ourselves in any narrative building, any propaganda. We have been claiming and showing results and proofs. We have been showing satellite imageries, we have been showing ground photographs, we have been showing the videos captured by the Pakistani civilians, and we were giving proofs of every claim which we are making. Whereas Pakistan's claims are hollow. It started with the Prime Minister saying 5-0. He goes to Turkey, he says 6-0. He goes to United Nations, he says 7-0. I think by the end of a few months, it might go to 20-0, 30-0, or I don't know how many zeros. At the end of the day,
Okay.
The battles are not won on narratives, battles are won on ground. And this is what Indian military proved yet again, that we can strike you and we can call your nuclear bluff.
That's
In
a very
this battle, a lot
significant
of
point
fuss
you
were
make.
happened. A lot of fuss
That
were
India
happened.
called out Pakistan's nuclear bluff. And I want to bring in Air Marshal Matheshwaran, because once India hit Pakistan, the 9 terror bases, including 4 in Pakistan's Punjab province, and of course 5 in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Air Marshal Matheshwaran reports then go on to say how Pakistan responded very aggressively. Pakistan did not take it lying down, so we knew Pakistan would respond. But the report says that Pakistan responded very aggressively. It concludes at one point of time, there were 100 jets in the sky, 60 Indian Air Force fighter jets and 40 Pakistan Air Force jets. And that's huge. However, the report then goes on to say, Pakistani counter-strike triggered rapid and more consequential Indian counteroffensive. India resorted to textbook suppression and destruction of enemy air defenses. We saw it. Was Pakistan, in your view, sir, unable or incapable of defending itself once its air defenses were taken down?
Well, I think, you see, on the first day, we were quite clear that we have no interest in escalating. And therefore, we very clearly sent out the message that the attack is only on terrorist outfit. And it is also a message that terrorist outfits, wherever you hide, whether it's Punjab or Kashmir, wherever it is, we will hit you. The message that we will cross the borders was to attack your terrorist outfit was already sent during the Balakot, 2019 action. But I think this time, on the first day, this was a clear message that there was no interest in escalating, and therefore we are not touching any of your military targets.
But he
when
escalated.
Pakistan, on the 7th, and when Pakistan now escalated, thereafter, I think we have taken firm control, and we opened out the conflict by following classic military, action, which is neutralizing their air defenses, neutralizing their attacks. And the report brings out very clearly, both on 8th and 9th, their consistent attacks with drones and weapons were neutralized completely by our IACCS system and the other Akash Tir. But when they didn't stop and they were planning to escalate further is the time that we now sent out our long-range missiles to attack the airfields. And the report clearly brings out that although we did not acknowledge, we've actually attacked their very important strategic storage sites. And that probably was a major shakeup for the Pakistani leadership. I think this is within 4 days. It's a short conflict, but within 4 days, I think the military leadership quality that's been exhibited was exemplary. And
I want you to elaborate on this. That's a very significant point you make. But for those who may think, what were those strategic assets, General Dhillon, that we hit? For a moment, I want to stay on this so that you understand the Pakistani psyche. When we hit their terror bases, in typical Pakistani bravado, they said, we will also strike, and 40 aircraft they launched, and they launched their, the J-10Cs, launched their PL-15s and what have you. In response, when India hit, General Dhillon, what were those strategic assets in your view that India has not publicly acknowledged but did hit, that the Swiss military think tank also takes cognizance of, that Pakistan realized they've messed around with the wrong country, wrong leadership, wrong time?
Gaurav, as I said in my previous comment, their nuclear bluff was called. Although our military leadership in the DGMO and equivalent conferences, we have not spoken about anything like this. But since the report speaks about the strategic assets having been hit or having been hit nearby, so I will go by the official version, but I will say it in 2 lines, probably for your viewers who will understand Hindi. Firstly, आप वो बात क्यों पूछते हो जो बताने के काबिल नहीं? And secondly, धुआं वहीं से उठता है जहां पर आग होती है. Now, having said that, those strategic assets was part, hitting them or hitting around them was the part of calling the nuclear bluff. It was telling, we know where you are and we will get you wherever you are and whatever you have, come what may. So that message was very clear, and in this, the military leadership played a very good role. More importantly, the national leadership and the political will. It's not easy. First time in the history of the world, two nuclear powers went to war. It's
Yes.
not easy to take a call as a political leadership and as a national government to strike the way we struck with the bravado which Pakistan always have been trying to show about nuclear bluff. So this was a very strong political will and a national leadership diktat, which
You know,
military leadership proved it on ground.
yes. Absolutely, and the report does conclude that the political leadership gave a wide berth to the armed forces. They gave the broad aims, and the armed forces were able to deliver on the political-military aim. Air Marshal Matheshwaran, would I be out of place if I draw a small correlation from what happened in 2019? So we hit Balakot, crossing LC, hitting across the international border, hitting in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. That was successful. Pakistan said it will hit back, and it did try and strike. It did not cross the IB, though it did use long-range weapons. But when India responded, and Wing Abhinandan was shot down, Wing Commander Abhinandan was shot down, now Group Captain, Prime Minister was quoted much later at a rally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Gujarat, if I remember correctly, words to the effect. He said if our pilot was not returned, our missiles were aimed at Pakistan, and Pakistan was told, "Aaj ki raat hogi qatl ki raat." And aaj ki raat hogi qatl ki raat. Jump to 2025. That qatl ki raat, 100 plus terrorists killed, 100 plus Pakistan soldiers killed in Lipa Valley. Was India then sending across that message that come what may, terrorism is unacceptable, we are imposing costs on Pakistan? Air Marshal Matheshwaran, Pakistan Air Force, this report says, faced direct and repeated blows to the core of their air power. Indian strikes on Pak bases, they sharply reduced PAF ability to sustain operations. Is that a conclusion you also draw, that Pakistan's ability to sustain operations were diminished?
Absolutely. Actually, the attack on the 9th and 10th significantly sent out a very clear message that, one, we've broken through their air defense, neutralized their air defense. Second is very precise attacks on very highly valuable targets. And therefore, they are now open to a complete destruction if they continue to escalate. And these long-range missiles, particularly the BrahMos and the Scalp and the other weapons, they are very precise, and the damage that they've caused has shaken them up completely. And let me also put it this way: out of the three military services of Pakistan, the Air Force is quite very professional. We have a fairly good respect for them. But I don't think even they would have expected this kind of a response on the 10th, particularly on the 9th and 10th. And that has shaken them up. So it's a very strong message for the future. It's a very, very strong message for Pakistan.
Air Marshal Matheshwaran, may I request you if you could elaborate on the strategic targets that the Swiss military report, the think tank report seems to indicate, the strategic targets that we were able to hit, that sent across a message to Pakistan that enough is enough, and they sought peace, they sought a ceasefire?
Well, the report comes to the conclusion based on, the photographic evidence of the attacks that have taken place. And of course, we have not, like the general said, we have not officially said anything on that. But the attack has taken place on the strategic headquarters area. And the report clearly says it is also an area where the strategic nuclear weapons are stored. And this would have alarmed the political leadership in Pakistan, as well as, I think, the Americans as well. So it left no, if further escalation would have been suicidal for Pakistan, because if the nuclear weapons have been locked up inside, then it is a serious drawback for them. And further escalation would have been unthinkable for them. They had no option but to sue for ceasefire.
May I conclude that this is the conversation on Kirana Hills, Sargodha, something that was hit in 65-71, but not with the intensity with which multiple air bases have been targeted. And we're showing those images, the command and control center at Noor Khan, the manner in which they were hit at Sargodha, in Jacobabad, in Rahim Yar Khan, Rafiki, Mushaf, Sakkar, Bhulari in Sindh, Pasroor, Chunian, Malir cantonment in Karachi. That long list, Dylan, it seems to indicate, as this report concludes, that by the 10th of May, the balance had shifted. There was a marked change in the strategic doctrine. Has the balance of power also decisively shifted? Does Pakistan realize, because each time, permit me, after Uri terror attack, India did a shallow surgical strike in multiple places, but along the LC. After Pulwama, India hit deep in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. After Pahalgam, India hit across Pakistan. Has Pakistan realized each time there's terror, India will hit deeper, harder, stronger? Next time, what's left? What would be left of Pakistan, in your appreciation, General, according to this report?
Gaurav, give me a little time to amplify a very important aspect you have touched. Firstly, comparing Uri, Balakot with Sindoor, I think they all three are different ball games. They all three were under different circumstances and conditions, and the political will, and the government's decision to say now it's enough is enough. What happened in Operation Sindoor was, when we hit on 6th, 7th night, and we said we are only hitting terror targets, no civilian, no military bases, and we don't want escalation, our aim was very clear. But when Pakistan retaliated as we know, and as there is in the report also, and on 10th, with the intensity and the violence with which we hit, and also on the line of control, not to forget very important aspect, we talked about Lipa Valley. On 14th of August 2025, Pakistan declared awards for 138 Shaheed, they called it. That means the gallantry awards for posthumous soldiers of Pakistan Army, Military, Navy and Air Force, Army, Air Force and Navy. 138 dead were given gallantry awards. That means the actual dead soldiers must be more than 400 to 500, and most of them happened in Lipa Valley and across the line of control.
Sir, if I may, permit me a 30-second interjection. How do we know these 136? Because that list that Pakistan published, and the moment it went viral in India, they deleted that list in Pakistan. How do we know that these 136 Shaheeds in Pakistan were all Lipa Valley or all LOC, Indian Army's fire assault, and not, maybe across KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or in Baluchistan?
Yeah, absolutely. This list of 138 was released on Sama TV of Pakistan.
Yes.
And when everyone started questioning that you lost 138 soldiers whom you're awarding, that means actual loss is more than 400 to 500, and how are you claiming victory? So this is when they immediately pulled down that list, that apart, all these soldiers, because the battle on the line of control, which happened, it was such a fierce battle, and such fierce arty duels which happened. And Lipa Valley, we are aware, one of the brigadiers intercept, which has been quoted by Indian Army Chief, one of brigadiers intercept, the Lipa Valley is a brigade headquarters of Pakistan. His intercept is, file ko chodo, Muzaffarabad bhago. Now, Lipa Valley, two battalions were interchanging, as we spoke on Chakrview also, and they were in open. I have been a corps commander in Kashmir. Lipa Valley is like a bowl in front of you. You look down on Lipa Valley from our Shamshabari. And when that fire assault happened, and the fire assaults all across the line of control and above the international boundary, maximum soldiers' casualties happened there. And then the intensity with which we hit on 10th, that sent a message that India is ready for escalation. And there is something called, for the benefit of your viewers, there's something called war fighting stamina of a nation. War fighting stamina of a nation is Pakistan vis-a-vis India, which includes the military holdings, it includes the reserves, and includes the economy and what it can support and everything, and how long can we sustain a war. After 4 days, Pakistan's war fighting stamina vis-a-vis India starts going down, and India, because of its reserves and economy, continues to have that stamina up. So a long war is not in Pakistan's favor, and what we displayed on 10th of May, Pakistan got shaken out of its slumber. They were always thinking that India will never hit like that.
Okay. Because I want Pakistan never to forget that 2019 Aaj ki raat, Qatl ki raat. Because if Pakistan does terror, there is Qatl that will follow of Pakistan military jihad or military terror elements. Air Marshal Matheshwaran, but knowing Pakistan as both of you do so well, Pakistan is not likely to change, its spots. Pakistan is too far down, addicted to terror to change. Should Pakistan try anything, God forbid, next time, they would know what Indian strategy is, either hit terror bases or use long-range standoff weapons to hit military installations. Wouldn't they be better prepared? Have we given away the game, sir?
Not really, Gaurav. Firstly, when you mentioned about the balance of power, the balance of power is never a issue. It's always with us. And what Pakistan probably has been banking on is the whether we have the willpower to actually use hard power, force, as we've demonstrated in Op Sindoor. And that is the main lesson that's gone to Pakistan this time, because after Balakot, they probably thought that we would still be reluctant to use force in a big way. And we still followed that our restrained ideology, restrained principles on the 6th night, 7th early morning by hitting only the terrorist targets. But when Pakistan now went back on their own escalation parameters, we responded very forcefully. So this Opsindur message to Pakistan is that India has changed and it's willing to
India
use
has
force.
changed. And now, of course, the Navy. Gentlemen, next time, it's the Indian Navy. Pakistan seen what happened in 1971. Next terror attack, God forbid, will things be so very different? Gentlemen,